you is kind of suffering.
Mm.
And largely, we're suffering unnecessarily because of things about human nature that allowed us to evolve to be the apex predator in the world. But
whoa, Ben, Ben, did you fall asleep, brother?
oh God, I killed him.
Ben is
I'll
asleep.
call him.
Ben, you pulled a Daniel Gonzalez on us.
I killed Ben! Oh my God!
Ben,
I'm calling him right now.
where did Ann left us too? Ben! Hey, Ben, dude.
This is awesome.
Ben Arzate! Come on, dude.
I don't think he has his ringer on.
What should let's roll with this.
This is awesome, dude.
Ben, what do you
That's
think
freaking
about
amazing.
what? Ben, what do you think about the Lakers' chances this year? I don't.
Man, you know what's stupid, Jeremy?
What?
Anarchism.
All anarchists are a bunch of cucks, cuck hipsters that, and they're probably were convicted of arson in their teenage years. That didn't do it either, huh? So Ben, tell us the virtues of investing in cryptocurrency right now. No, that definitely won't wake him up.
Wow, I killed Ben. I need to put that in my blurb for Alexa's Revenge.
And don't worry about it. You're it's not your fault. You're doing a fine job. So to continue, Ben, you're going to feel really stupid when you listen to this back when you wake up. I don't know. Was it that I didn't give him enough room to talk? Is it because he's
having the Gregor Blues too? That's what.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Gregor Blues going on.
I thought he would be like totally alert. I thought he would be totally alert since Ann's on. I hope it wasn't Ken that put him to sleep.
Well,
I think he's been working a lot.
Well,
that's probably what it is.
Yeah. I've done the same thing. My ex was so excited. The first time I ever went to San Francisco, actually the only time I ever went to San Francisco, or was it here in LA? I can't remember.
Just block out the snore and talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He was all excited. My ex was all excited because he was going to take me to meet like his mentors, who were these famous writers, at least in academia. Oh, that reminds me. You know your douchebag guy who said like he wasn't allowed to star in the whole show or whatever?
Yeah,
you know, there are all these writers who are stars in academia, but nobody else has ever heard of them.
Right.
You know, not even other.
They think that they're a big deal when they're really not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same way with the Bizarro community, I found.
Yeah, except it's worse because, like, at least in the Bizarro community, the kids are going there hoping to score some Xanax. With academics, they see all these, they see all these kids who are packed into the seats listening to them, and they're like, "Wow, I really am a brilliant Shakespeare." And what they don't realize is the kids are there for free food or because they're being forced to for their freshman English class. So yeah, they get this like. Anyway, these people were that kind of writer. Like, they think they're a big deal. My ex went to grad school, so he thought they were a big deal. I had no idea who they were. I was supposed to be excited. You know, maybe I could be a New York Times bestseller by now if I hadn't done this. But I was so tired and so cold all day that I didn't bring good enough clothes to go to San Francisco because I thought it was in California. It's going to be warm, right? Nope, wrong. So I get into their house. It's nice and warm. I just uncontrollably go narcoleptic on their couch for like hours. Yeah, my boyfriend was trying to get me to converse with them and network and shit. And, you know, networking is not my forte even on my best day. But when I'm like having the narcolepsy, forget it. We left. He was so pissed. He was so fucking pissed at me. He was like, that was the best opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, you probably shouldn't have made me walk like 6 miles in 50 degrees in a skirt.
Yeah, people who think in terms of like opportunity as in like, oh my God, we got to go here to meet this person because they can help me. It's just so weird to me. I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems kind of unethical to begin with, and then I wouldn't even know what to do. Like if I were to seriously try, I'd just show up and be like, hey, can you help me, become more famous than you are? Because really, you're kind of pathetic, but this is the kind of shit I have to do. So can you help me? I've never heard of you, but what the fuck? I figured this is worth a try, right? Oh, you don't want to help me? Why not?
Yeah, I like what that dude. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but he was the Tyrant Books editor, publisher dude, talking about when that Atticus Lynch book, I think it's the author's name, came out from Tyrant, the New York Tyrant, that he had to go to some kind of Ken Faulkner Award thing, and that he hated the social climbing and the people there so much that he just disrupted this big ceremony that they have where they hand out awards and stuff. Have you read that story, Jeremy?
No, I'm not. Tyrant Books. Who runs that again?
I don't know the dude's name. It's sometimes they call it the New York Tyrant, and they're kind of like one of those literary presses, but they're like not at all affiliated with like any sort of academia, even though their books.
Scott McClanahan? Was it Scott McClanahan?
He had a book through him. Yeah, I think it was that Hill William.
Okay, that guy is hilarious. Okay, seriously. But no, who's above him? Who runs it?
All I know is that he calls himself the New York Tyrant, obviously.
Okay,
but I don't know I don't know his name.
So basically, a lot of social climbing going on.
Yeah, it was just a funny story.
Frank said maybe Ben fell asleep reading poetry. Wouldn't it be funny if it was his own poetry? So, what happens after you publish the full, complete life Elektra's Revenge saga? Like, what are you going to do after that? You may have already answered that. I don't remember.
My phone dropped out again out here in Edward Scissorhands land. Apparently the rioters have shot the satellites out of the sky. I mean, that's a good way to keep me from taking over the whole show, actually, is to like have my phone go out all the time, because I do talk a mile a minute when the tech stuff is going all right. But as I was trying to say, I have 2 manuscripts that I'm already well into, and I've always made fun of people like Dave Eggers for writing autobiographical shit, because the people who get famous writing autobiographical shit and the people who are really schmaltzy about writing it usually don't have very interesting lives. But a couple of my friends have been convincing me, like, Anne, you're the only person that any of this shit happens to. Like, everything from almost dying of a medieval disease to that time I bought a box of cereal at Trader Joe's and they put a noose in it for some reason. Like, I open it up, there's a noose in my cereal. Like,
what? How long? Like a full noose?
It was a piece of like polyester rope. It was a miniature noose and a loop at the end. I was like, was this a prank that was supposed to like hit Jussie Smollett and I didn't see him and I like pushed him aside at the door and I grabbed my cereal a box too early and I got his prank? Like, what the fuck? Who gets a noose in their fucking, Jozos? Only me.
Jozos. Wow. Yeah.
And so I've been convinced that, maybe it's worth writing on some of this crazy shit that happens to me. Not in the grandiose sort of like, I'm a genius Dave Eggers way, but like, you're never going to believe the shit that happens to me all the time kind of way. And one of them is going to be more fictionalized. It's the story about, the 2 roommates with the weird homoerotic thing going on after the cops drug raided our house and we got evicted, and how one of them wound up. Well, we had a house band and I was playing the drums, but I owned a bass guitar. And the bass player was borrowing it. He was the one who killed himself. He stole my bass and pawned it to buy enough heroin to get the nerve to hang himself. And I'm like, man, I hadn't thought about this story for years. But when somebody said, you should write down some of your weird experiences, I was like, in a twisted way, that's kind of a nice little arc for a love story. a real twisted love story.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
there's cops. There's a little bit of a Romeo and.
It's like a punk rock Brokeback Mountain. It's kind of a punk rock Brokeback Mountain kind of.
The only way I could do anything
yeah.
autobiographical is like if it wasn't like a straight story, like I wasn't telling my life story, but like I was using things like that happened to me to like influence, like somehow influence like something philosophically. So it's more about like the idea, and then it's almost like whatever happened to you is like research for it, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pull that off.
Yeah, you know, that kind of really better describes the other manuscript that I've got about halfway written. Like I'm probably this one I'm probably going to go for first, and then I'll do the love story as kind of a lighter, fun thing. I'll do it as fiction. This one's going to be more of an essay, and yeah, it's kind of based on a lot of the mistakes I made dealing with a Fruit Loop. You guys might have heard of Matt Forney.
Yeah, we talked about him last time. Yeah.
Wait, who is he? What?
Yeah.
Okay, this guy once wrote a blog or talking about how he bragging about how he raped.
Oh, is he a
right?
Manosphere dude?
Yeah. He wrote a blog post, basically accusing himself of anally raping me by way of a sort of not a humble brag, a felony brag, I guess.
Why would you?
You know, and I never. Yeah, I don't know, because he's fucking loopy.
But you don't think he did,
never,
actually. You don't actually think he did, right? Or do you?
I still don't know. Most, you know, I'm not going to say what percentage chance there is that I think it's true, but I never pressed charges before the statute of limitations ran out because, and I still don't think I would press charges because I'm not going to like put somebody in jail for however many years over something that I don't remember. And you know, he's a compulsive liar. So, you know, it's kind of a toss up as to whether he was lying or not. You know, is he lying or is he being stupid? I don't know. But, you know, I'm not going to go into the legal system for something like that.
Okay, I think Ben may have either been rolled over on his keyboard or he muted himself. He woke up and muted himself because I see that I can't unmute him. So I wonder, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so he's woken up. What a shame. I wanted to see how long that would go. Okay, so Zach, Aaron, you two talk amongst yourselves while I go take care of something myself. All right, I promise I won't fall asleep though.
Okay. Yeah,
all right, don't kill Ben. Assuming he's still alive.
Thank you for that entertainment, Ben. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, that was a messed up thing. I don't remember talking about that last time. I think I was getting him confused with one of those like Manosphere writers because we had, what's his name? Delicious Tacos on. I thought, if you've ever heard of that dude.
Vaguely.
Yeah, he's kind of like, I don't know. They're kind of like a weird little subset of writers, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are cool. It's just some of them are Matt. I don't think they ever really liked having him attached to their movement.
Oh, so he was part of the Manosphere.
Yeah, but
oh god.
And then I think he tried to be part of the alt-right, but they were like, you're not really a good example of an Aryan Ubermensch, dude. Go away. So now he's doing some Christian thing. I don't know.
Yeah, the
he's
only
loony.
one I think who is doing like is genuine about it is the Roosh guy. Now I don't know that many of them, but he's the only one that like I've come across that I feel that like what happened to him was like a genuine like spiritual and like, you know, philosophical move, because he does seem to be like, I guess, smarter than a lot of the other ones. So he did just kind of like develop that way. But I think a lot of them are basically grifters.
Yeah, I mean, it started, I forget the name of the guy. It wasn't Roosh. He's not a very good writer. But there was one who, his writing kind of impressed me. And I kind of thought this movement was going to turn into sort of a, like real life. Sorry, I'm panting. I'm walking almost straight uphill. I thought their movement was going to turn into like a real life experiment with evolutionary psychology. And I thought, oh, this might be interesting. But then it turned into them all kind of trying to weasel money out of each other.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with them. They kind of basically all of them other than Roosh get on my nerves.
Yeah, well, it's just that sort of huckster vibe you get.
Yeah, that's definitely strong with them because they're not. It seems like a lot of them aren't really coming from any sort of creative standpoint. It's like they're trying to do some kind of nonfiction thing, but they don't have that much to write about. So they become like weird self-help guru type people.
Yeah, actually, the fact that they were all making so much money at one point with this bullshit was my inspiration for writing my self-help book, which is called Disaster Fitness. I started that as a parody of self-help books because I was like, every fiction writer I know, like the most successful one makes like $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
You know, the journalists I know are all getting laid off, but these dipshits writing self-help books whose own lives are in shambles, you know, this is their rent money. You know, how does this happen? So I started writing a parody of what they were doing. But then I realized, like, wow, you know, I'm 45 years old. Well, I was, I think, 43 at the time, or 42. Anyway, I'm in my 40s. I'm completely insane. I've had kind of a difficult life, but I've never been overweight. If I can reverse engineer that, I can actually give people good advice.
Yeah.
So it kind of morphed into a serious self-help book, which of course nobody bought because, you know, I didn't promise them any secret formulas.
Yeah.
I didn't really have an advertising budget either. But I mean, people are slowly starting to buy it because people do read it and then they're like, oh, wow, this really helped me, you know, get into working out because, you know, I'm not pretending to be an exercise counselor. I just realized, oh, this is why, you know, everybody knows they need to work out, but most people have a really hard time doing it. Whereas because of like a couple of addictions I have to work out every day or I will peel all my skin off. And that's not really exaggerating. So I'm like, well, how can I help other people who are crazy or even not crazy kind of channel that into, you know, like enjoying and looking forward to working out? Because, you know, some people, even though they're in good shape, it's still something that's dreadful and it ruins their day. Like if I could reverse engineer the way this works for me, you know, I could help a lot of people. So people are slowly catching on. But it started as a parody of these guys because, you know, when I started the project, I was like, okay, I don't really know how to do anything except edit, which you can't really teach somebody to do. It's just practice. I can edit and write. And, you know, the secret to that, I can put in one sentence, read a lot and work hard, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really have any advice to give, but neither do these douchebags. And they're making, you know, $30,000 a year or whatever. So I'll just parody what they're doing. Wow, that was a complete tangent.
That's probably a dang book I need to read, although, like, sometimes working out's fun, but it's like, I feel that I always do it, like, way worse than everyone else there because I'm just going, like, without any, like, just kind of, like, LARPing at it, like, just trying different stuff, but getting
Talking about
in.
disaster fitness, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm no athlete myself. I mean, unless you're actually training for the Olympics, and this is one of the points of my book, the whole point of working out, besides your physical health and your mental health, is to get free drugs. Because, you know, when you work out, your brain produces, you know, serotonin and painkillers and dopamine. So it doesn't really, you know, as long as your form is good enough that you don't hurt yourself, it doesn't really matter, whether you're doing it right or you feel like you're LARPing.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter, you know, if you technically accomplish anything or if you look silly or you know, I know that feeling you're describing because I always feel like that pretty much no matter what I do. But with working out, the whole point is just to get your body and brain into a zone where they're going to like flood your brain with drugs and make you feel temporarily better.
Yeah, I do always feel freaking like super happy when I come out of the gym.
Yeah, that's those endorphins. Yeah.
It,
Right.
and for me, like the motivation of the endorphins and the fact that I'm really good at zoning out when I don't like what's happening. It's really easy for me to get from, to just ignore the parts of the workout that hurt at the beginning and then just enjoy the drugs. So I kind of wrote that book as attempt at giving people advice on how to sort of reverse engineer this quirk of my personality so they don't have to either like not work out and then feel shitty and feel bad about themselves, or work out every day but it's a struggle and it's just a pain in the ass in their day instead of free drugs.
Okay, so Mr. Sleepyhead is back with us. Ben, thanks for that.
Sorry about that.
You pulled a Daniel Gonzalez.
That was amazing, man.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
I was gonna riff on it for as long as you would be snoring. By the way, you're a light snorer, so that's a good quality. I've been told that I sound like a tiger when I snore, but yeah, you're a light snorer, so that's good. And but yeah, I was gonna be like, after Ann left, I was gonna ask you questions as you're snoring and everything, and act like you were answering back. It was gonna be great, but you woke up before I could do it.
Sorry about that. I just put my feet up, and next thing I knew, I nodded off.
Hey, this is the
I
quiet
don't think I got enough sleep last night. Sorry about that.
This is the quiet place where we put people to sleep. But wow.
Yeah, sorry about that, Ann. It wasn't you. It was me.
I think I know what it is. Okay, ever since last week, it's like the last 2 weeks have been like just the super like drama purge where everyone's freaking like petty nonsense just creates like gigantic like ripples, and like we're all over it now and the drama's done and we're just kind of like coming down off of it. But it was so bad that it actually burned us out. Like it burnt Gregor out. What else happened? I guess it was
Strange and I fought pretty hard. We got pretty heated.
Yeah, but yeah, that happened.
Chet Williamson apologized for being on our show.